Hey everyone, it's Cami Simmons here, and welcome to the Trendsetter Lounge. Today I have a mover and shaker who will be joining as our special guest today. Her name is Niani B. She is a hairstylist based out of Detroit. She was one of the many workers who had to put a business to a halt due to the stay-at-home orders during this coronavirus. And however, she did not let that stop her. She saw a need and went after it and created virtual sessions to teach women how to maintain their hair, specifically how to braid during this time of being quarantined, and she started these virtual sessions. Since then, she has been featured on Blavity, Essence Magazine, and New York Times, and many other media and news outlets. Thank you so much for joining me on the Trendsetter Lounge today, Niani.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's just get started with my first question, which I'm just very curious on how you started this idea to have these virtual braiding classes.
So it all happened pretty quickly because I knew I had to move fast because obviously everybody was kind of in the same position as me, especially in my field, trying to figure out what to do to generate income. So I had this idea to teach a class that taught women how to take care of their children's hair. As a hairstylist, I don't take children, but I still wanted to be, a solution. And so I wanted to teach women how to take care of their hair, how to make it easy, simple, and efficient. And so I had this idea to teach this class. So I was sitting and trying to figure out what I was going to do now that I was at home because of the stay-at-home order. I thought of a class that I was going to teach and was like, why not do it online? And I thought it made more sense to open it up to everybody so that it wasn't, just moms, because there might be women who are aspiring to be moms or just aspire to know how to do their own hair. And thus, a safe space for Black women that never learned how to braid hair was born.
And so I know braiding hair can be an intrinsic process. There's a lot of different like finger placements and that sort of thing. And so I proposed a question to my followers just so that they could be able to get some questions answered. And one of those questions was, is it beginner friendly? Are your classes beginner friendly?
Yes, they're very beginner friendly. So it's for the girl that never learned how to braid their own hair. And so with that, I decided that I needed to come up with ways and different techniques to teach somebody who didn't understand the concept at all. And I have a dance background. I have a minor in dance. And when we learn dance, they usually break it all the way down, right? So we might learn a foot movement first, and then they might add on arms, and then they might add on head, and then you got to throw in your personality. So I broke my class down the same exact way. So we learned the very basics of plaits. How do I construct a plait? I have hair in front of me. What do I do? I don't assume that anybody knows how to do anything. There might be some women that do, but then this just helps them enhance whatever they've been doing. And then for the girl that hasn't done anything, then now she gets a grasp of the concept and can grow. And that's exactly like what we've seen as women who already knew how to braid a little bit, now finding that they're learning different techniques to make that different. And then now girls who could never ever construct a cornrow are constructing.
Wow, so cornrows, braids, whatever you call it, they're able to do it in this class for sure.
Definitely.
And so also I read and did a little bit more research, and I know that your classes are also, the goal of it is for it to be a supportive as well as a safe environment. If you can explain just briefly what that looks like.
So I wanted it to be judgment free because there's already this stigma behind, Black girls who don't know how to braid. Like there's this stereotype that all Black women know how to braid. Like we go through some initiation process where we just learn how to braid and it's just a part of our culture, and that's not true. So for the girls that don't know how to braid, they often feel ashamed, and not just by people outside of our culture, but Black women too. Like, somebody will say I don't know how to braid. And I'm like, what? How do you not even a what? Like, how do you not have? And I didn't want people to feel that in the group. I wanted them to be able to be comfortable expressing where they were having issues. Mm-hmm. If they didn't know how to do anything, then say that so that we could help you get to the point where you could construct a cornrow. And in order for that to happen, it had to be a safe space. And I think that's why everybody is drawn, because everybody that's in the group is either just like them, a girl that does not know how to braid, or a girl who wants to be supportive of somebody who doesn't know how to braid and understands that they can learn something from the class as well. So that's why it was a safe space. It's a judgment-free zone. You can post your pictures, and no matter how bad you think it might look. Somebody else might see potential or growth. You might be ahead of the game compared to somebody else that's in the group. And now they have something to look up to and say, wow, maybe one day I'll be there. So definitely judgment free and it's safe.
Okay, all right. I definitely like that. And so also I was curious, as Black women, we have different verbiage and vocabulary that we use for our hair. We may refer to our edges, our kitchen. If you can explain, if you deal with those topics of explaining what that verbiage and vocabulary is in these classes.
Definitely. Sometimes as Black women, even Black women who don't know how to do their hair, we still know some of the language. And it's a little bit easier to explain it to Black women, just because we understand what that is. We don't have, I haven't had anybody use any negative terms towards their hair, and that's been really great. I think it's because of how we built the space and how we built it for being space. There hasn't been anybody who's made a negative reference towards kinky hair. We're using terms. So if we're talking about kinky hair, we're saying type 4 hair. If we're talking about curly hair, we're talking about curly hair. No one's saying anything negative about anything. No one's even referenced the kitchen. When I'm teaching the class, I use the term nape or the hair close to your nape. I try not to say, terms, not that they're negative, but I just find it is simpler, especially when you're teaching. That way we don't have to get into the ebonics or language of hair when we're just talking to each other, your homegirl.
Okay, I like that. And then also, how many women and other folks have tuned into these sessions so far? If you can just give me an estimate.
So we have around 700 students right now.
Okay, and how much do you?
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
They're all over the world. So live classes probably have up to 100 students. But they're safe. So women who are active subscribers, because it is based on a subscription, have access to the classes whenever they have time to watch them, because we have women in all different time zones now, catching up at different times, and then they can post their questions later and we get back to them as soon as possible.
Okay. Yeah, I see that you also have folks tuning in all the way from as far as Ireland as well, right?
Yes. Ireland, Africa. We have students in Africa. We have students in the Caribbean, Canada. So literally all over the world.
Okay. And how much do the sessions cost?
They're $5 every 2 weeks. So for $5, depending on when you join, you can get at least 4 classes. I teach live twice a week, and again, the classes are safe. So you can go back and watch them if you need a little extra help, or if you were busy or in a different time zone and couldn't catch the class.
Okay. And then also, where can folks access the classes?
So if you go to my website, www.nianib.com, that takes you to the class, basically where you can register or learn more about me and other services that I might be offering.
Okay, and then also, where do you see these classes going just after post-quarantine and after the stay-at-home order has been lifted?
Everyone keeps asking me that, so I'm hoping to continue the class. My plan is to continue the online classes. I'm not going to leave my students hanging, and I'm hoping to be able to finally put together that face-to-face class here in Detroit, and who knows, maybe some other cities too. Once this is all over, of course.
Okay, and then as part of this Trendsetter Lounge series, we also have a segment called I Got a Question, which is a really fun time for me to ask out-of-the-box questions, very fun questions, and just to get to know each other just a little bit more during the Trendsetter Lounge. So I'm just going to start. One of the questions is, what was the last thing that you Googled?
The last thing I Googled?
Yes.
How to download an email list.
Okay. Was this for your virtual sessions or was this for another project?
I'm a hairstylist. I do have a marketing background, but I'm learning as I go. So there's been so many things, especially with it growing so fast, that I have to Google to figure out how to do it. So. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Nice, nice. And this is another out of the box question. Do you put water on or before, or actually let me rephrase that. Do you put water on your toothbrush before or after you start brushing your teeth? So you put the toothpaste on the toothbrush. Do you put water on it or do you brush and then put water on it?
So I put water on my toothbrush before I put toothpaste on it. Then I put the toothpaste on, and then I add water again, and then I might add water again later.
Okay. Okay, and then also, are you a green Skittles type of girl or woman? Or are you a red Skittles? Which one, green or red?
So when I haven't had Skittles in years, but when I was eating Skittles, I was a every Skittles type of person. I never picked out any of them. It was just all of them. So.
Okay, all right, so that's the end of the I Got a Question segment part of the series. But I'm definitely gonna have to check out some of those classes. I too am one of those women that's faced with the challenge of, having to manage my hair during this time of COVID-19. So I definitely, I know the challenge of that. I tried braiding my hair this past weekend. That was a whole thing in itself, but I'm definitely gonna check out your classes, Niani. Thank you again so much for sitting down with us and, explaining your story and sharing information with us here on Trendsetter Lounge. For those who are tuning in, make sure you like this video. If you tuned in today, make sure you subscribe because I'll have more informational videos coming soon for these next couple of weeks. And then also, put in the comment section below some questions that you have for your hair or just other resources and tools that you have as well. Hopefully, Niani, maybe you can even answer some of those questions that some of the folks will put in the comment section below. But thank you again so much. Once again, I'm your host, Kami Simmons here with Trendsetter Lounge. And until next time, we'll see you on the next video.